Okay, interesting question. It is within my right. Is it within my right as a parent to request my child to switch to an online program for his classes instead of Zoom classes he has for 4 hours a day? I do not feel my son will be prepared for the 7th grade next year if he continues with Zoom classes with a real teacher and like 8 other students. They only cover math and reading and nothing else. My son did not have pull-out services or anything with regards to special education. Now, I believe he would need those services again. The principal at the elementary has given me problems from the day she started. Okay, but you made your request to the special education coordinator, who you had to reach out to, and the SPED coordinator said that that would absolutely be no problem switching your son. The coordinator is also a principal, so you're in a smaller school. He said that he would have your son set up and ready to start the online program called Accellus, which I'm familiar with. When returning from winter break, that did not happen. Your son was supposed to start online January 4th, but apparently the elementary school principal got wind of your request and didn't like it. And she told me that your son had to stay in his primary classes and he could not do online classes. Okay. You don't want your child to fall behind because of the lack of time in the class. Okay. What are my rights as a mother, and can the principal deny your request? Now, the special education coordinator, because your child is identified as special education, that could be an IEP team decision. But of course, we can bypass that. You ask the special education coordinator because it is related to your child's academic scores. And see, that's where the approach, I guess, is a little bit different, being that the principal feels as though she has the ultimate say with regards to general education coursework that your son is involved in. And the special education coordinator, which is also a principal and carries both jobs, disagrees, didn't think that was a problem, and was flexible. Now, I believe I know where you live. I think you live in New Mexico. And if I'm wrong, just let me know. But if that's the case, then because of the length of time of the COVID closures and basically all the schools going to online services, and they have been, by and large, horrible in New Mexico with regards to how it's negatively impacting the special education community with regards to the students with IEPs, students with 504s, and New Mexico is going to be in a bit of a mess here in the near future when parents decide that their patience has run out with the mode of delivery and the lack of absolute services, when there's nothing prohibiting right now. There was in November because the governor shut the state down again. The state really hasn't opened up since March. It's still very much locked down. Like for example, if you want to eat in a restaurant, you have to eat outside in the winter, but outside inside because everybody's created tents and are pumping heat into them. So you can't eat inside the restaurant. You have to eat outside the restaurant inside. Now, if you can wrap your mind around that, but whatever. This has negatively impacted the students throughout New Mexico, and when the parents have enough of it, then I am expecting that there's going to be a lot of parents decide that they're going to take that next step of advocacy in order to, and when I say the next step of advocacy, I'm talking about due process or mediation, something to sit there and make the things right that went wrong with their child's education program. And in this case, you tried to advocate in advance, lay the groundwork to participate in this online program that he's tried before and he's been successful at. He used to have pull-out services in the form of specialized instruction, special education, but he hasn't needed that. And your concern is that because of the length of time that he's gone with this process that isn't working for him, that isn't the way that he learns, well, then you run into the problem of it messing with his IEP, which is an individualized education program. And that's why the special education director said, yeah, that's not a problem. Which, quite frankly, that should have been the person who had the ultimate say. But in some school systems, when it comes to this power play of responsibility, sometimes these special education coordinators, especially if they're sharing duties as principal, will back off and they'll go, well, you know, the principal has the ultimate say. And I don't believe that that's true. I believe that you're dealing with an IEP team issue because the mode of delivery for your son is not working, has not been working. So an alternative needed to be figured out. And the special education coordinator was siding with you that the Accellus program was going to be that good middle ground to be able to solve that solution and prepare him properly for the 7th grade. And the principal wasn't having it. Now, you know, that could be a myriad of reasons. You know, most of it is that, you know, this feeling that you somehow went over her head. And if the relationship is already sort of stressed, then there's nothing you're going to be able to do to sit there and correct that. This is just bad leadership, bad administration, which happens. And so I wouldn't be, well, it doesn't sound like, you know, you're intimidated by that at all, and you shouldn't be. But you're in the right with regards to advocating for your son in this way in order for you to stave off the need for additional IEP services. The other thing is you are absolutely entitled to corrective action as well, because he's basically been without the proper services since March, almost a year. And at that point, if you were to take that step, let's say to due process or through a mediation, those would be things that you would be able to ask for as well, is to get him moved over to the Accellus program, and then on top of it, have things factored in, let's say tutoring, in order to get him caught up and get him ready for 7th grade material. And those are the things that your child's entitled to because of the prolonged damage that that the closure has done. So you're in that position. And so whatever you're willing to do or whatever you're ready to do, then and you know, I know it's been, oh, I don't know, I don't think it's been that long, maybe a week since you asked the question. So I don't know if there's been any changes, but I will tell you that if you have any additional questions about that specific or individualized to your situation as far as where you live, I mean, obviously we take New Mexico cases, and you know, we are here to help if that is something that that you require in order to get that done. And so just message me if that's something that you're interested in discussing with me, and then we can go from there. But I think it's justified in your situation that the special education coordinator and the IEP team should have made that decision, and then the principal should have fallen in line with that decision, because the decision of the IEP team does overrule the decisions of the principal. Okay.